live, Coach Cav. So we are probably, yes, we are most likely being live streamed right now. I am super, super excited to have you today, Coach Cav. Let me make sure, yes, we are live. So Christian, oh my goodness. Yves, hi, Christian, hi. Everyone's here already. So let's go ahead and jump in. Coach Cav, oh my goodness. Amazing experienced investor in the short-term rental space and also an educator in this space. I don't think I ever got a chance to tell you, Coach Cav, but I heard your webinar, I want to say a year and a half ago, and just the dynamic nature of your framework and that whole sharing economy diagram. And I just looked at it and I said, wow, I want to be him one day when I grow up. I mean, you just had everything spelled out so beautifully. The infographics on all of the components of the sharing economy. It's not just one prong, but it's definitely multi-prong. And so I so admire your seniority in this space. I do look at you as one of my mentors, and I just so appreciate you being here tonight. And I thank you so much also for sponsoring one of the students in the LSA program. I so appreciate that as well. So thank you, Coach Cav, and welcome, welcome. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and it's an honor coming from you, who I see in the short-term rental world making a huge impact, not only with the content, but just your presence and your character, being present in the moment every day, participating on forums like Clubhouse, and then taking time out to run your academy and also do Facebook Lives with others around the industry. So that is to be admired, and it's tough. So hats off to you. I'm Alvin Cavalier. I go by Coach Cav. I don't actually do much coaching. It's sort of broad, but it flows well, right? So we kept the tag tied to it. Originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. 20 years active duty military, still serving. That's my full-time day job, and we dedicate time in and around it to short-term rentals and what we're doing. My company, Your Space, we've been in real estate for quite some time. Got into short-term rentals a little bit under 4 years ago with a couple of apartments in New York City. Got a taste for what short-term rentals could be in the New York City market, and then slowly started to come south, and then took a pause to understand what we were doing, build a framework around it, and start to expand the portfolio over time. To date, we've done well over 150 sharing economy investments, which include the likes of sites like PeerSpace, which is an event-based platform that we tie to our Airbnbs. RVs, we've got a couple of RVs in our inventory, and a number of other shared economy services that we bring in. So it's been a good journey. I've been blessed to have a team of partners that have the right dedication. They are as detailed as they need to be in places where I'm not, because I love the framework of things. I don't like getting too far into the weeds of things. I'll fall asleep. But just blessed to have a good team around us, and as we've grown over the past couple of years. So happy to be here to talk short-term rentals, our Turn-Key program, and some of our sharing economy efforts.
Yeah, so I think you kind of downplay your ability to go into the weeds, Coach Cav. I have seen your spreadsheets, my friend, and you are not afraid to go into the weeds. I can sit there and just stare down your spreadsheets for hours and just kind of follow through to identify some of those. I think you call them value propositions, or the gaps in the
value gap analysis.
The value gaps. I think, could you tell us a little bit about that? Like, when you're going into the market, how is it that you're identifying what those value gaps are, or what are some of these other parameters that you're looking at? Because what an opportunity, right? It seems like that's where you get laser focused to really figure out what value you can bring to that marketplace.
Right. And this just came over time, right? So we were going into a bunch of different markets, and we started to notice some trends. And then after essentially missing the mark a couple times, we pulled the curtain back to try to better understand how do you really define what markets, what's missing in a market, and where do you start? So the evolution of the value gap analysis actually started with looking at Toys R Us and Blockbuster, right? Because those businesses once owned their markets, and they failed for many reasons. But what we did come to understand was the reason they ultimately failed, because they failed to offer the right value to their customers over time. And Walmart, Target, Amazon came in, changed the landscape with online business, 2-day shipping, you name it. Toys R Us couldn't compete. Same thing with Blockbuster, right? Netflix came in, brought everything online to your front door, and they couldn't compete. But that's just the business rule, value. So we started to look at short-term rentals in the same way, and not separating the term value from any market, but to understand that if you don't offer the right value to your customers over time, you'll end up like Toys R Us or Blockbuster, regardless of the market you're in. So we didn't look at the short-term rental market any differently, but in this case, we had to understand certain things that were different, right? So the value gap analysis form came to fruition when we first determined that the traveler demographics, and who were the traveler demographics, right? And in short-term rentals, it's uniquely different, because you can have a traveler demographic that's a family with kids, right? A family with kids and pets. So we went down the list of what we've seen based on our experience, and then what else is out there based on all the different markets that exist, right? So we came up with the list of traveler demographics, and that becomes the first key point in understanding where the value gaps exist in the market, because you've got to understand who's traveling to the market to understand what they need. So the second column that's built out in the sheet helps you identify what gaps exist in the market. And the analysis behind that is pretty simple. We don't use AirDNA. We simply just go into Airbnb, and we utilize the filters that exist, because they tell the story, right? If you put yourself in a traveler's shoes that's traveling with 2 kids and a pet, and it's a family of 10, they're going to go in and hit filters. So it's never where you start, in my opinion, but it's where you finish in the search. And the more of those gaps that you've identified in the market that you fill in your place, the better you can compete in the market, whether you're in a 1-bedroom population or whether you're in a 4-bedroom population. And the third column in the sheet that you mentioned talks about unique value. And the way we look at unique value is that you're competing with less than 1% of the market for something you're offering. And that's typically things like, in your case, luxury homes in any market are less than 1%. Homes that have pools, unless you're in Florida, are typically less than 1%. Homes that have spas, themed homes that may have like a dedicated game room, or a home that has a dedicated kids room. Those all put themselves in a unique value category. And when homes in our case are unique, or termed unique value, that gives you a chance to start driving up prices, because you're not competing with the entire market for the traveler demographic that's seeking what you offer. Hope that made sense.
Absolutely. And it was a great, and if you need to get that, Coach Cap, I've got 2 kids myself, so no worries at all. And someone might be trying to get your attention. It is all good. Did you want to take a moment to get that, or?
they're coming out of the shower, so
So they're good to go. Okay. Awesome. I totally, no, absolutely. And I think it couldn't have been said any better, because we do find ourselves offering a little bit more of that unique value. And so we're able to price ourselves differently, and we're able to drive it up, quite significantly. And it was never clearly defined to me as to why we're able to, but we still get our bookings, we still get these occupancy rates at these prices that maybe I wouldn't personally be comfortable paying as far myself. I look at these homes and like, I can't afford my house, and so people are looking for that unique value. And I think more and more, and I don't know what your thoughts about that, but I didn't get, long story short, I didn't get into VRMA like I wanted to, but I did get some of the data and the information from there, and with the information sharing. So it's going to be more so of those unique stays, that's going to drive the marketplace. And it seems as though even Airbnb, that platform, is favoring, those unique stays. You can even get that unique designator. We were putting a property, listing a property a couple nights ago, and for some reason, I never noticed that unique, stay designation until a couple nights ago.
I always say that most platforms like Airbnb, they tell on themselves, right? And here's two examples. One, in order to effectively price through Airbnb and understand how you get free marketing, all you have to do is understand the first offering that they offer you when you create a new listing. It's the 20% off, right? That's the magic number. So if you offer future discounts on long-term bookings and your long-term just so happens to be 30 days out, and you put 20% off, you're going to show up on the front page with a 20% off designator, right? The second are the unique stays, right? We've got a tiny home out in Denver, Colorado, and as soon as it listed, it was put under unique stays for a tiny home. But Airbnb's cover page isn't filled with 1 and 2 bedroom apartments downtown Newark, right? It's filled with luxury homes, villas, tiny homes, tent homes, right? Unique stays. That's what they're trending.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's incredible. And so, and you're right, because what I'm learning is, remember some of the big dogs in the arena in terms of even the arbitrage. You have the Stay Alfreds, the Saunders. I mean, that was the big, the big publicity was around that. But I think it's shifted. Do you think that it's shifting more toward not so much that, but more so of these individual types of niche down assets, essentially?
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely agree that the future's in unique stays, period. I think the data is there to support it. They've got a relatively higher occupancy rate across the board. And it just creates a destination, right? And that's what Airbnb sort of framed their business around, creating unique destinations for their travelers that gives them a one-of-a-kind experience.
And for better or for worse, the data doesn't lie. You're absolutely right, Coach Cap, because one of the premises of what our, one of the core values essentially that we have in our portfolio is the luxury asset. But the luxury doesn't mean, oh, I have gold, gold doorknobs, No, the luxury, modern luxury, is much more different than traditional luxury. And, especially since the Industrial Revolution, you can order some gold doorknobs on Amazon and it's going to be here now, or tomorrow. I mean, the accumulation of things is not what interests people. They want to accumulate experiences, and they want to accumulate unique experience. They want to go in a tiny house. They want to go in on a tent, in a yurt, in somebody's RV, and just to have a different experience. And so that really is the definition of modern luxury. It's that experience. And it's not just even the destination. It's that whole journey. What was that, booking experience like? What was the communication like? So along the way, there are a whole bunch of, benchmark that you could really hit the mark and give them that luxury experience with all of those touch points. So I think there's a lot of synergy there with what we're trying to do. But you let us know, can you define, and I know I get so excited, we can talk about all these other things. Define for us turnkey short-term rentals, turnkey Airbnbs, because a lot of people are interested. I posted in the group who's interested in learning about turnkey short-term rentals. Everyone raised their hand. So give us the definition as it relates to what you're going to be teaching us tonight, and then give us a definition, I guess, what others would expect in the real estate turnkey world and how it differentiates from one another.
Right. So turnkey, it's a legacy term, as I call it, in the real estate market. If you've been around for a while and you've seen companies that offer turnkey real estate, it usually involves an investor that's purchasing a property that comes essentially in a box, right? And they just got to sign paperwork virtually, and it's all done. It's packaged for them. In this case, turnkey, and I think for short-term rentals, there are a couple of things that are floating around out there. You've got folks that are saying they offer something turnkey, and it's just a property empty, where they give it to you and you take it through the process. And then you've got sort of a full service that we provide. So in this case, as we define turnkey from a short-term rental standpoint, it is the acquisition from a master lease standpoint, where we master lease homes and or apartments into our portfolio for a minimum of 3 years, in most cases out to 5 years. Once we take those properties into our portfolio, we set the administrative conditions for investors. We make sure they're able to be legally permitted, define any insurance requirements that may be required, and then get essentially what the overall cost would be from our interior design team to take on the investment. We have a team of professional interior designers that tackle sort of phase 2 of this project, where they travel on site to do the design and install for the property. And then once that's done, on to phase 3, which is all of the back end management that's provided. So when you package that together, what we put in front of investors is a true turnkey investment opportunity that allows them to invest through our company into an Airbnb passively. So they don't have to take up any more of the time from what they're doing day to day.
And what an incredible solution, and what a great way to get in, especially if you're starting, new, you want to get in, you still want I want to call it the sexy Airbnb. Everyone wants a short-term rental, to participate in that, but it's not easy, right?
No, it's not. And let me give you a little bit of the backstory to where this came from, right? And it bleeds over from the course also to this product, because what we saw a couple of years ago was this race, right? Everybody was getting into short-term rentals, and the more popular it became, the more vanilla things become, right? Because at some point, everybody develops some level of expertise that gives them the ability to sell something or provide some input. But as we stepped back from what we were doing, taking on properties and building a portfolio, one thing we realized was that the market was missing a true turnkey solution. So we set out over a 2-year period to start to understand what that would look like. And it started internally with some of the properties we had. And we brought in some of our close Army buddies. They probably didn't know this, but they were our guinea pigs, right? But we started to create, right, this turnkey model at a relatively cheap price, but it helped us understand some of the unique attributes that needed to go into doing this, and then to eventually do it at scale. So fast forward 2 years, and we attempted to align our essentially turn into this model with Airbnb going public, because there was going to be a spike in demand. Once they went public, there was going to be a spike in popularity. So when you put those things together in a marketplace, you create, right, a lot of interest for a product or service. So that's what happened, and that's sort of the evolution of how we got to where we are with this turnkey model.
Yeah, and that's fantastic way to answer to a pain point, really, because a lot of folks here that are listening, that are going to listen on the replay, they're going to want to learn how to get started. How do I find the top markets? And we actually have a couple questions right now. Let's see. I want to take advantage of that. Hi, Janae. Hi, Solomon. Solomon's here.
Solomon, how are you?
Hey there, Yolanda. Okay, here's a question for you. What are some of the high performing STRs for high performing areas for an STR that you are noticing, Coach Cav?
I would say Savannah, Georgia has by far been the most profitable market. Charleston, South Carolina, not far behind. And surprisingly, I'm going to tell you about a town that nobody knows exists, right? Probably but us in the military, but Enterprise, Alabama. So you have three things that play in Enterprise, Alabama. One, it's a relatively small town. It's in the South, so it's got an extremely low cost of living, right? We have 2-bedroom townhomes, 1,600 square feet with a garage that rent for $825 a month. You have a unique traveler demographic, going back to the conversational point about value. You have a unique traveler demographic that you have to understand, in this case, being the military. And understanding the military travel demographic and what happens at the post, it's a training post, which means they rotate in students throughout the year. So that creates a demographic for the student, and then a demographic for the students' families. That doesn't exist in every market. So when you put that together in a market like an Enterprise that has such a low cost of living, and now in this case, right, what we did in understanding the market had a gap, right, in homes that can sleep more than 8 people, and that were pet friendly, because the military is a huge pet community. So we did exactly that in the market and put 4 townhomes in Enterprise, Alabama, that sleep 10 to 12, offer pets and kid friendly. And we're able to charge, $125 plus in a $65 market, right? And again, the monthly expenses are only $1,000, so that's a recipe to do very well. So it's never so much about location, right, as much as it is about the value that you can offer in the market. And if you can do the right data analysis, especially in a market like Enterprise, you'll position yourself to do as well in a small market like Enterprise than someone that's in downtown Houston or Dallas, right?
I love it. I love it. So we had a powwow on Clubhouse on what are the top places to invest. And it almost felt a little bit like a bait and switch, because it's really anywhere, right? I did have a list. I did provide my top 10, but I just wanted everyone to really evaluate. You can position yourself almost anywhere, regulations permitting, to do very, very well. It's understanding who your ideal guest avatar is that you're going to be serving, and understand how to position yourself so that they can see that you see them. They can see that you know them. They can stop the scroll and see that, okay, this place, although it's a little bit at the top of my budget, but it has everything that I need. So why would I look elsewhere? And so,
Yes.
yeah, you're right. You can
Yes.
definitely do something great in the markets that you would not expect. And that's the beauty of short-term rentals. This is not something you would typically be able to pull off with a long-term rental or a different type of investment. So that's what I love about short-term rentals, really.
And that's a great point, because I get a lot of traditional real estate investors that come interested in short-term rentals, but they have a long-term rental mindset. And we have to have this come to Jesus talk, where I bring them down out of the clouds and help them understand that, hey, the value propositions in a long-term rental that makes, force appreciation successful for property are 180 degrees different when it comes to short-term rentals, because, right, our value proposition is in our traveler demographic. If you fail to understand who's coming, you'll never be able to understand what to offer them. So you'll never get to a point to where you're offering the right value in the market. But that's an interesting point, because a lot of traditional real estate investors, they bleed into the short-term rental market, and they miss that key point because they're so laser focused on adding value to the home without understanding the traveler demographic first.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we have a couple more questions. So Coach Cav, essentially you gave us a great summary and overview of your turnkey model. The question is, even though it's passive, are there additional expenses after the initial investment? So this is a question from Yolanda. Yolanda, thank you. Great question.
Yes, Yolanda, great question. There is, and the way I explain it to investors is, once you're into the investment, think of it as if you're in your own home. So everything that you would normally have from an expense standpoint in your own home, you will have that same responsibility in a short-term rental, with the exception to the cleaners and miscellaneous fees that pop up from time to time.
Awesome, awesome. Solomon, hey there, Solomon. Solomon says, Coach Cav, I am well. Didn't want to miss the conversation. Pray all is well with you and your family. Thank you, Solomon.
Thanks, Solomon. I appreciate it.
Tiffany, thank you for joining us. Tiffany says, yes, surprised to hear about Enterprise. I know a couple of people from there. And Michael Doc Rivers. Hi, Michael Doc Rivers. He says, outside of Fort Rucker, question mark?
Yes, Fort Rucker Military Base.
Awesome. So he's familiar. I was like, I don't know what that means, but that's awesome. Fantastic. All right, so I think I've gotten some of the questions and comments. Let's continue the conversation. So Coach Cav, let's talk a little bit about operating a sharing economy ecosystem, because I know there's a ton of value there. Talk about adding value. Oh my gosh. So there's more we can do, right? Than just short-term rentals.
There is. A couple years ago, we stumbled upon this small company called PeerSpace, and sought to understand a little bit more about their business and what they were looking to do. And we hopped on a call with Mike and one of the other owners, and started to position our current places with PeerSpace. And again, PeerSpace is an event-based platform, similar to Airbnb, but it's event focused. So you think of photographers, film production, small events, small meetings. You can book those through the PeerSpace platform. And PeerSpace also allows you to list a home, which means you can list the same home that you're running an Airbnb out of on PeerSpace. So when we talk by and large the sharing economy, it's really, the point of it is to how do we get our highest and best use out of a home. So the way we look at it is, how do we turn a home into a multi-purpose space that operates within the confines of the sharing economy ecosystem. So that's when we take a peer space and we say, okay, this makes sense in this market because it's got a large demographic of chefs, right? It's got a large meetup demographic. It's got a rather large photographer demographic. And then I'm starting to understand again, right, those demographics, which are different in a peer space community, but understanding who they are and what they need allows you to then, build something unique in a home that allows you to dual purpose it between Airbnb and peer space. Additionally, small services like Instacart, right? I always say that, if you're not considering Instacart as part of the services you're offering at your Airbnb, you're certainly leaving money on the table, right? Because we all understand one thing that everybody needs, or they will do at some point while they're staying with you, is that they're going to go out and visit a store to eat or grab something they need. But if you put that in front of them, then in some cases, as we see, they'll take it, right? And then that's just an additional way for you to earn income. You have sites out there that allow you to sell parking spaces now. Again, that's a downtown problem, that if you're positioned in the right market downtown somewhere, you can monetize the ability to sell parking spaces. And then you've got boat services and then RV services that you can also tie in. And I'll talk a little bit about RVs because we do have two and potentially purchasing another one tomorrow. But there's this huge, right, thing about Turo, right? Turo's becoming this popular little baby. We did in fact have vehicles at one point on Turo. But the data told us something completely different, right? COVID created another demographic called the staycation, right? So we understood the staycationers in this case, they were repositioning themselves to Airbnbs in different areas just to give their family a break. But they were also staycationers that were looking to travel for 3 weeks to the Rocky Mountains, right? And they weren't going to travel in the Turo vehicle. The other thing with RVs is that they've got a unique ability to be diversified in terms of what they offer. For example, during the height of COVID, Super Bowl was down at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, and we had a medical company rent the RV for 2 weeks for an enormous amount of money to do COVID testing in the parking lot. Right, we've had the RV go out to the Preakness for a corporation that wanted to woo their clients, and several other major events across the country that RVs went out to. And then you've got the ability for an RV just to be parked centrally as we keep it in a park and be rented as a standalone through Airbnb or RV share from that site location. So their diversity is unparalleled. And just from a number standpoint, the expenses based on how you can finance an RV are relatively low compared to just say a higher end car like a Tesla. I may have a $400 difference in a note, but I'm also making $300 more a night in most cases, right? So when you start to look at the data, it supports RVs in a grander fashion, as I call it, than Tesla. So we've largely went away from the smaller vehicles in Turo and repositioned ourselves into the RV market where we'll continue to grow our RV population. With that, in a nutshell, those are some key areas within the sharing economy that I think everybody should think about. And again, this is about highest and best use of a home. And then I just ask you to ask the question: how can I take a home and turn it into a multi-purpose space that operates within the confines of a sharing economy?
Wow, Coach Cav. I think I'm getting a little feedback. Oh my goodness, Coach Cav, you have dropped so many gems, and I'm ready to sign up for an RV tonight because that's fantastic. And I've heard other operators talking about RVs as well, and I just could not put the pieces together in terms of, well, what does that really look like? And you're absolutely right, Coach Cav, because in my own neighborhood, one of my coaches, she was looking to rent a home in the neighborhood, but she said she used to live around here. She left, she's coming back for business, but she said there were no properties that were budget friendly. She went to rent an RV. It was $250 a night. And so I was like, really? And she goes, what's happening? And she's more in the storage space. She's no longer doing residential real estate. She goes, what happened to real estate? And so I told her, wow, that was really impressive. I should have put two and two together. But that's incredible.
There's a huge demand, and the other thing to think about, and that if you all that are listening, you aren't gathering what I'm saying here about any service that's offered, right? There's a demographic tied to it. Mm-hmm. And the thing I was sharing with some of the Toro owners that having a conversation about the two vehicles services, but the demographic that rents a Toro vehicle is a different demographic that rents an RV, right? I am not concerned about the older family of 7 that's taken a 3-week trip to the Rocky Mountains, right? As the Turo owner, they're holding their breath, over the 4th of July weekend when, the 25-year-old kid rents their brand new Telsa, right? So that's always a point to consider when you're thinking about getting into a vehicle service. But who's the demographic, right? That you're serving, and once you start to understand that, you almost have a worry-free demographic with RVs because they're typically older. They've either had an RV and gave it up, or they just want to get away for a while and they're doing something special with their family, or it's a corporation that's doing something big, and they just get it for a few days. So always something to think about and consider.
Oh, this is so good, Coach Cav. This is amazing. And you're absolutely right, because I get a lot of pushback, Coach Cav, because we have the larger homes in our portfolio, the 5 to 8 bedrooms, and they're like, oh, there's going to be big parties. Not really. No, we don't have big parties because, number one, we're not going to do a one-night stay. The lift to get that space back into operational order, we're going to need a few nights, and we're going to need you to pay a few nights because it takes a team to get that space back in order. And number two, we allow greater than 30-day stays. And so, we're told a lot of times, well, greater than 30 days, now they have tenant rights and this and that. So I was like, well, if the executive director of The Walking Dead wants to have tenant rights and pay $30,000 a month for this property, have tenant rights, have at it, so it's an entirely different guest avatar, right? So you got to just really know who your guest avatar is. Those rules are great for certain demographics, but they might not be necessary for your own demographic. So that's phenomenal advice, and it applies here as well. Okay, questions. I love all these questions. Coach Cav, you are on fire, my friend. Let's see. Yolanda, I'm in Georgia. Are there any cons or things to consider before investing in a different state?
I would say none, and I'm biased, right? Because everything we do is outside of our backyard. We by and large operate remotely, so I tell you that And this is a story I tell, right? If I were to pick 10 people, 10 hosts, and ask them, hey, what do you specialize in, right? Can you fix a leaky roof? Can you repair a hot water heater? Can you patch a hole in the wall, right? Can you fix tiles that may have came up? Normally, right, that those are not the areas we specialize in. So the difference between you getting the problem fixed is the person, right? The right person, that professional that you have to identify and put in between your business and the problem. So the only difference with the place that you have that's 5 miles away is that you're going to go and see it and take the picture and send to the professional versus you having your housekeeper trained to identify it, take the picture and send to the professional, right? So my point being is that unless you're going to be a full-time maintenance person and you're going to take care of every problem that comes up, then focus on getting the right people on the team that are qualified to solve the problems. Then, right, once you've got that in place, that's your SOP, right? Your standard operating procedures in terms of the chain of communication, how problems get solved within my business. And then, when things happen, those things start to go in order as you have them set. So point being is that, whether the home is in Hawaii or Washington State, as long as your systems and processes are in place and you've got the right people tied to your team, then you can do this anywhere, anytime.
Excellent, excellent. So I hope you feel like you got some value from that, Tiffany. This is awesome information. Joyful Dolce says, hi, Coach Cap. Thanks for being a great mentor. Guys, Coach Cap is the real deal. Yes, he is. We partnered during the pandemic. I have no regrets. I had a property in St. Pete and one in Enterprise, Alabama. So thank you, Dolce. Oh, we got some co-signers facts. He is fantastic and was pivotal in helping us get our first listing. T. Lee. Thank you, T. Lee. Okay, Azaria has a great question, Coach Cap. So you touched on offering Instacart. What does that look like? She says, how do you offer Instacart in your Airbnb?
So there are one or two ways. When we first started, we were doing it the manual way, I'd say, where we built a Google Drive or Google Forms, and we attached that to each booking. So the guests had to go in and fill out this manual guest registration form, and attached to that form were all the services that we offer. Excuse me. Nowadays, depending on the PMS you use or a single serving platform like You're Welcome, who offers digital tablets, you can have that information in your guest hands as they book, or when they walk into your place, they get a tablet that shows them additional services that are offered, and you just list out everything that you're offering. But I tell you to look at a PMS, maybe like Hostfully, that has a digital guidebook that gives you the ability to put any upsells or additional services you want to offer to guests, and guests get it immediately. And all your services are right in front of them.
Awesome. I hope you got some value from that, Azaria. That was a great question. Yolanda has a comment. So much information. I know, right? So many gems. Yes, you are absolutely right. Dustin has a great question, Coach Cav, actually. Is there a platform that offers market analysis for RV rentals? I'm sure you have a spreadsheet for that, possibly, but is there a platform?
There isn't, unfortunately, because the market was never constructed to be sort of an arbitrage type market, right? RV owners, by and large, are still segmented to certain demographics, but the back end of research for RVs doesn't exist, right? So The value gap analysis form that we built can serve the same purpose across any service, any vehicle service, and because you can go in and you can alter the travel demographics. For example, we can alter the travel demographics that are specific to RV rentals. We can then go into a platform that you book RVs like Outdoorsy or RV Share. You can go through the filter list to understand what key amenities are offered. And then when you go to do or choose your RV, you then have an understanding of what gaps exist, right, in the RV market. But vehicles are a little different. And I'll just say that what we've come to find is that newer vehicles typically just do better, right? If you've got a 2021 or a 2022, in most cases, even if you offer less amenities, people always choose newer when it comes to vehicles for some reason. So that's, the one value area that I would say to look at are newer vehicles. But if you're considering RVs, we look at this the same way. And anybody that's interested in the forum, please send me a note and we can get it out to you, or drop it into a shared drive that I can just share, and you can pull it out there.
Awesome. And Christian, if we can message Coach Cav and ask for that, we can add it to the group. And you guys, I have a message, I think somewhere in this Facebook group where I highlighted this form that Coach Cav, I think you were analyzing the Newark locations, and it got a lot of buzz because it's incredible. I just love that form. Dustin says, thanks, Coach Cav. Awesome. Yolanda is responding, systems and processes and a great team. Yes, you are absolutely right. That is a great trifecta. Thank you, Yolanda, for summarizing that for us. So Coach Cav, I'm on your email list and I always love seeing the properties that come through. Sometimes you have apartments, sometimes you have single family homes. And when I look and I analyze, I finally go to reach out to you, it's gone. So you must have a serious email list of investors, because you do drop properties, weekly, I feel like, but they get snatched up. Who are these people? Who are my competition? Who do I need to talk to tell them to back off of my properties? Just kidding. But who are these just investors that you've come across? Folks in your Facebook group, folks in my Facebook group? Who are they? Just regular Joe Blow people? Or are they hedge funds? Who's picking up these properties?
You'd be surprised, but our turnkey investments, I say we have three different buckets of investors that we've sort of captured, right? We have the busy professionals that in some cases they are focused on taxes. They understand that this investment is active, right? Airbnb and the nature of it, which means that their losses will be filed on Schedule C, which then will help them reduce their tax liability. We will get a phone call out of the blue and say, hey, I'm a developer, my wife has a W-2, we're getting killed on taxes, right? This seems right for us. That's a 15-minute conversation in the property. The second bucket are busy professionals who are looking to expand their income portfolio or their investment portfolio. They don't know how to spell Airbnb and don't care to. It is, about positioning their money, and then, secondary focus on taxes. And then the third bucket are investors who are on the fence about doing this long term, but we provide them an easy in to getting a chance to ride in a passenger seat and get a sort of a ride along until they're comfortable to do it on their own. So yeah, they, all different shapes and sizes, but, depending on what they're looking for in their time, we'll see the interest come in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us about the future of your space. And I know we're at the top of our hour here together. Okay, Joyful says, yes, the properties are gone quickly. I have the same problem. Yes, joyful. I agree. You can't sleep on it when those text messages just go out. Just hit the go button for sure.
I mean, some investors now, they they've invested once or twice. Their properties are doing relatively well. They don't necessarily need to look at the packet and understand the numbers. The text will go out. I'll get a text or a phone call back to say, what do I owe you? And that's it. And the property's gone. That's happened quite a few times over the last couple of investments that have came up. Yeah, so gotta be quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, another question. This sounds wonderful and seamless. How involved is the investor during the process? I think you touched on it a little bit, but could you respond to that for us again, Coach Cap? How involved is the investor during the process?
And it depends, right? I'll give you the lawyer answer and tell you it depends on the investor's long-term goals, right? If they're truly passive, in some cases, they will sign a service contract, submit their invoice, and they'll look at their invoices monthly, and that'll be it. And we'll only hear from them if there are questions. If the investor wants to understand, right, some of the inner workings of things, how we price, what are the pricing strategies, then we'll have more touch points. So for that, we use an app called Basecamp. Basecamp is a group collaboration tool that allows us to essentially flatten the lines of communication with our investors, our vendors, and help them see the whole process unfolding from start to finish. And then once the property's up and running, they have a direct line to their property manager or one of us in some cases to answer any questions that they may have. But it really just depends on your long-term goals with short-term rentals as to your involvement.
Awesome. So as much as you want to be involved or as little as you want to be involved, you have options. That's fantastic. So where do we go from here, Coach Cap? What is the future of your space and what do we have coming down the pike?
Coming down the pipe, we've got a couple properties in Florida. We are getting close on a 108 unit deal at a hotel in Newark, New Jersey, which, by the way, right, if Newark wasn't on anybody's radar at some point, but Newark is the next gateway to New York City. And just hear my words, because the regulations in New York City changed the landscape. Jersey City followed, and Newark, being 18 minutes away by train, inaccessible, will be the next big thing to New York City. So if you're looking at a market, Newark may be one to think about. But bringing in a couple of projects around the larger project in Newark, and then you really just starting to focus on in the unique space, right? As I mentioned, we've got a tiny home, we've got some land that we're talking to not a tiny home, but a container home developer to put two container homes on. And then looking to expand our services into the RV market. I think by next year the goal is to have somewhere between 5 to 7 RVs positioned across the country providing services.
That's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about that 100 plus Newark deal. Are you looking for a single investor to take up the a good portion of that portfolio, or are you looking for silent investors? What should we expect with that Newark deal? Because that sounds very plentiful.
So the Newark deal, it went on the market a couple months ago when the deal first came to us. So right now we've taken all but 2 of the slots that we had. So there are only 2 active slots open for investors to invest in. Everything else has been taken in the building. So, and it went relatively fast just based on the interest in not only the market, but what was being offered with the units inside the building.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And we just got word in November, I think some of the regulations or there's some of the limitations are going to be lifted. So a lot of European travelers are going to be able to come in. So definitely tap in with Coach Cav. I know that you have a text messaging number that we can utilize in order to subscribe to your list. Coach Cav, do you happen to know that off the top of your head? I can add it in this chat.
Yes, so if you wish to be added to the Turn-Key community app, the number you want to text will be 202-918-5027. That's 202-918-5027. And text the words Turn-Key to that number, and it's going to pull you into our Turn-Key leads community. And as new investments start to shape up, we typically send out a teaser, create a separate community within the app for those that are interested. And then once the investment packets are done, the investment packets will go to that community.
Well, guys, you have it there. Thank you, Christian. Christian added it to the chat as well. Text Turn-Key to 202-918-5027. Coach Cav, is there anything else you want to share with the group before we shut this down for tonight?
If I can impart anything upon the group, that whether you're looking to get started in short-term rentals, whether you've got your first or your experience with quite a few, just understand that, one of the most important aspects of what we do surrounds the guest experience, right? And it has to start there, like Rachel mentioned, that flow. If you don't get that part right, then you'll never survive as a business, right? The product that you're putting out. So, and then again, just get started, right? There are a number of tools and resources. Dr. Rachel's got an awesome academy that she just launched, and a number of other short-term rental operators are out there providing excellent content for you. But you have to invest in your education, and I know you've probably heard people sing the song, but in cases where you're looking to do something big, it may just require you to spend big in order to do bigger, right? So don't be afraid. And the last thing I'll tell you is that Airbnb and short-term rentals are good investments. If you understand the product and the nature of short-term rentals and its active investment status, it can become a great tax strategy for your business. And that to me then becomes the center of gravity, because your bottom line at the end of the year is what matters. And if you are positioned to do well from a tax standpoint, your profit margins will ultimately grow through taxes, right? And you will be, in this case, no different than Fortune 500 companies of the world that take massive losses and have losses that exceed their expected income for any given year, and reduce your adjusted gross income in some cases down below 10 grand, right? So taxes, start there, and you can start to position yourselves to do well in this business.
Dropping gems to the very end, Coach Cav. That right there was a master class, guys, especially for folks in this group. Yeah, busy professionals, right? So you're seeing that income, that W-2 income. How can you offset some of that? And so, oh my goodness, you just opened up a whole other situation. Thank you for imparting that knowledge to us, Coach Cav. Oh my gosh. So much there to unpack, guys, but our time has run out. I so appreciate you, Coach Cap. Thank you for plugging in the Academy. We had an amazing launch night and welcome night. Thank you again for being a sponsor. If you guys are interested in working with us, just message me LSA and we'll keep you on the email list and let you know how you can work with us when we relaunch again. Just message me LSA, guys. I so appreciate you, Coach Cav. Appreciate all the value that you have given us. That last bit on the taxes, it's like, oh my gosh. So I cannot wait for us to explore that further because taxes are a big deal and it's coming to the end of the year. So time to get our acts together for sure if we have not. So thank you. I hope everyone who's listening and the listener, I hope you are inspired. I'm about to take this RV thing and go shopping for an RV.
Get an RV show tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, and please share with us what you end up selecting to purchase to add to the portfolio. I cannot wait to see it. Yves, thank you. Thank you. Candyman, thank you. Bernice, thank you. Thank you all who attended. Again, I hope you all were inspired. Have a good night, everyone, and have a great weekend. The weekend's coming right up shortly.
Awesome. Thank you, Doctor.